Alright everyone, we've got to talk about the new revelations coming out regarding Obama's admin and the NSA and how they did indeed spy on many people. I will be surprised if this makes the mainstream news. I wonder why. I'll be surprised if a lot of people end up even talking about this or caring about this because they've become so sort of they've become desensitized to the idea of the Fourth Amendment, essentially no longer meaning anything. Turns out that during the election period, 2016, Obama's admin sought material on about 30,000 different U.S. citizens. Now, the article in question, link in the description, speaks of people in Congress, their staffers, things of that nature. Do you honestly believe that all of these figures were strictly political? Now, I'm not sure. I don't really care, maybe, if they gathered some intel on a senator or a judge or something like that. I do see that as a big problem potentially within government, because then, of course, whatever established party exists can completely destroy its opponents, potentially, and then it becomes a one-party state. We would devolve away from actually having a representative republic. So that's something we have to take care of potentially down the line. The NSA should be abolished. Blanket surveillance should be strictly ruled completely unconstitutional, done away with forever. It's far too dangerous for that reason. It's much more dangerous than any handful of would-be jihadists or whatever that you're going to stop with blanket surveillance. Even the former head of the NSA said it was like finding a needle in a haystack. The system does not particularly work. It's useless. There's too much data to comb through. The algorithms can only do so much. Ultimately, it has still, to this day, to my knowledge, stopped 0 attacks. They could come out and say, oh, well, you stopped this attack and that attack, but then they'd have to supply potentially classified evidence to the public, which they're not willing to do. They'd rather be seen as ineffectual than expose, you know, some of their more minor trade secrets, I guess. Which shows me they haven't stopped any actual attacks. It's not the point of domestic surveillance. It's to shock the public and make them act differently. To fear reprisal if they should say something, if they should not toe the line or something like that. It's a psychological warfare sort of aspect. But Obama has violated the Fourth Amendment. He won't get in trouble for this, but he and his team verifiably did. It is unthinkable that all of these searches involved people that were within politics. I have a sneaking suspicion that if you were to actually obtain the unredacted list, apparently some of these names were improperly unredacted anyway, a la Susan Rice sort of style politicking. That happened with her too. She doesn't even want to come before Congress to testify. Lindsey Graham invites her, she refuses to go because some Democrat wasn't going to be there, you know, to cover her ass, to ask the softball questions and to say, oh, Mr. Graham, you're being too mean or something like that. It's like it's a freak show at this point. No, if you looked through this list, I bet anything, you would find prominent journalists who questioned the Obama admin or were anti-Clinton. You'd probably find people from Drudge. Matt Drudge is probably on there himself. Breitbart, maybe The Blaze, some of these other activists. You might even find some prominent political YouTubers on those lists. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that these different classes of people were all kept tabs on by the Obama administration to the best of their ability to do so, to try to smear and discredit people if necessary, and of course just to keep tabs on them if not necessary. And because Obama relaxed the privacy restrictions involved, again in blatant violation of the right to privacy under the US Constitution, all of this largely unredacted data was then shared to other intel agencies, which means that it's there forever. It's on paper file, it's digitally backed up. Good luck getting rid of it. Now, a bunch of intel on people that have nothing to do with terrorism, they have nothing to do with organized crime, they've probably never done anything specifically wrong beyond maybe, oops, I ran a red light once 20 years ago, are now on file with the federal government because of mass surveillance and because of Obama's political axe to grind. Wonderful. And people said that he said he would have the most transparent admin in history. What he didn't mean is that the public would be transparent to him because he'd be data mining so many of them. Yeah, this is a blatant violation of the Constitution. How much more egregious could it possibly get? These are presumably not individuals that were communicating overseas either. Remember when the revelations with Snowden first came up, the NSA assured the public, they said, yes, we're collecting metadata on US citizens, but it's only accidental. You have to be talking to somebody overseas or something like that. What exact threshold is there for that? How do we know that it's limited to that? Now we have every reason to believe that it's not. That it's basically everyone's everything getting swept up, and that what they mean by collected is really sorted through by an algorithm and or looked at page by NSA agents. That's what they mean. They're collecting everybody's data, everywhere they go, everything seamlessly. That's why it doesn't stop terrorism, because there's too much data. This was alluded to by the former head of the NSA. Obama appears to have used some of these programs, at least to some degree, to keep tabs on political adversaries. And that's a no-no. That's more unconstitutional than the very existence of blanket surveillance itself if he was doing that. And it appears that he did. But, again, do you honestly think he's going to get in trouble for it? No, of course not. He's completely shielded from getting in trouble for anything, just as any president, unfortunately, tends to be. Or people who are higher up in the Senate or something like that. People, the more corrupt they are, the more allies they happen generally to have within banks and corporations to help shield them from getting in trouble anyway. It's a system that rewards corruption. If you're just a little bit corrupt by coincidence once, you might get caught for that and forced out of office, all, Richard Nixon style corruption. But if you're totally systemically corrupt, like Hillary Clinton or something like that, oh, you'll never have to face the sweet music and go to jail or anything like that. And I bet that a lot of people wish that the FBI had accepted their defense if I didn't know I was breaking the law. Clinton, it worked for her, and now it's worked for Huma Abedin. I would think it set a legal precedent at some point that people can just say, oh, I didn't know, there was no intent. I didn't know I was breaking the law when I embezzled that $1 million. I wasn't aware that it was illegal. I don't know anything about the U.S. law. I'm just totally dumb. Something like that. Obama was a warmongering president. The left doesn't even want to admit this. You look at Libya, you look at Syria, whatever you want to look at. He's a total fucking warmonger. Killed tens of thousands of innocent civilians with his drone program alone. Ruined several nations. Wonderful foreign policy. Alienated a bunch of people. Was certainly not on the side of the right to privacy. Was certainly not on the side of the right to free speech. In fact, anytime someone criticized him, he tried to cast them off as, oh, you're a bigot, there's something wrong with you, or something like that. That's what Obama ended up doing. About the only good thing, and I mean objectively good thing, he did during his whole presidency was the Cuba deal. And even that rubbed some people the wrong way. I happen to think it was a good idea. Other than that, all he did there, it seems, was spy on people constantly. Spy on people and order drone strikes. What a wonderful man. And he's remembered by the left as being a good president. It's retarded. That's about all. Peace out.